If there's one word that kept coming up every time I asked people about what they struggled with home ed, it was overwhelm. Whether you call it home education or homeschooling, whether you unschool or you follow a strict curriculum, whether you've got one kid or 9 kids, a common theme is that everyone feels overwhelmed at some point. I was thinking about this recently because we're moving house and surprise, surprise, I'm overwhelmed. And I was trying to pinpoint exactly what overwhelm was for me. And this is what I came up with. There are these moments in home ed where everything feels just right. Do you know what I mean? It's like when we are out in the woods and I'm chatting with other parents and the kids are getting muddy and they're finding slugs and they're learning loads and you hear them laughing through the trees. And those moments that I think this is why we home ed. It might not look perfect to anyone else, but to me it's that just right moment. And overwhelm, for me at least, is when barriers rise up to either stop me seeing those just right moments or get in the way of me having those. They either cloud my view or they paralyze me from making opportunities for those moments. When I had my first kid, I was a bit surprised at how little other parents in the community I was in there had told me about parenting. He was a bit early, it was a little traumatic, but there were still lots of things that wouldn't have been a shock if people had just talked to me about them. Now, not everyone's ready to do that, but I did make a promise then that if I could, I would share my experiences so that other people didn't learn about parenting from sitcoms, because it's not going to be right. Just like if we learn about home ed from Instagram and Pinterest, we're not going to get the right picture. So in the spirit of that promise, I'm going to list some of the things that cause overwhelm. Some of them are things that I've experienced, some of them are things that I know other people do, and I know this is not an exhaustive list, but let's see how many I can get. And because I'm slightly overwhelmed right now, I haven't tried to memorize this list, so I'm going to read it out. We've got anxiety, depression, lack of confidence, working other jobs, keeping a house safe and clean, paying bills, job losses, chronic illness, unexpected illness, single parenting, divorce, custody battles, your printer breaking, unsupportive families, sibling squabbles, reluctant learners, newborns, toddlers, teenagers, watching the news, being low income, lack of inclusion, laundry, moving house, the internet crashing, and someone asking for just one more snack. Like that can be the final thing that just, overwhelms. And if you've experienced any of those or others, know that you are not alone. There are lots of us in the home ed world that at times feel really overwhelmed with what's going on around us and what's going on in our own houses too. So that list definitely sounds familiar to me. Over the last few weeks with moving house, we have not had many just right moments. We've had a lot of just got to get through it moments, and we are, and it's okay, and it's life, it is what it is. One of the favorite things I've heard someone else say is that it's not hard because we're failing, it's hard because it's hard. Sometimes I think we can blame ourselves for the overwhelm rather than the things that are actually causing the overwhelm. And often those things, they're completely out of our control. And so that begs the question, how do we even get through overwhelm? When I had my first kid, like I said, it was a bit traumatic. I ended up on bed rest in hospital for a month, and I don't know if you've ever been in hospital for any length of time, but it's like a different time zone in there. Everything kind of seems to move a lot more slowly. It's like everything is put on pause, and the outside world, it doesn't almost seem to exist. It's almost like this mythical thing you hear about and people come and visit. And the thing that becomes most significant for you that day is what you're ordering for lunch. And I guess lockdown was a little bit like that, wasn't it? That month was really important for me because it made me realize that I'm not needed for everything. The house got prepared for a baby without me. My workplace coped just fine without me. The volunteer positions that I had, someone else did it. But I was the only one that could sit still on my bed to stop a baby dropping out of me. And that was really quite freeing. So I don't have any hacks for coping. I don't have a top 5 ways of dealing with overwhelm. I can't even come round and put the kettle on, send you off to bed and look after your kids for a few hours. But if I can give you one gift, and you don't actually need me to give you this, but if I can give you one gift, it's this. You have permission to pause. Not this video, unless, like my kids, you find me a little bit boring. But you've got permission to put your life on hold and pause for a little bit and just concentrate on the one job that only you can do. That might be you having the perfect lap for two of your kids to sit on and snuggle in. It might be the only one who can do the right voices for the read aloud to make your kids laugh. Or it might be the only one that can take yourself off for a shower. I don't know how long you need that pause to be, but you have permission to pause. I'm in a pause right now from formal home education. My kids are still learning lots. One of them woke me up at 5 o'clock yesterday to tell me why 3 times 3 is 9, so I'm not worried that they're not learning. I know that they are, but things like planning and preparation and curriculums and rhythms and routines, they're all on hold right now. And that's okay, because during that time, 1, I'm getting rest and so are my kids, but 2, I'm able to think through a few questions, and 2 of them that keep coming back to me that I thought I'd share with you are these. Firstly, have I got reasonable expectations of myself and my kids? And secondly, what do I actually have the energy and ability to do? And you know what? I think when the answers to those 2 things match, I think that's when I'll have those just right moments again. Thank you so much for listening to me and the leaf blower. I hope you have a great week, and if you are feeling overwhelmed, come and join us in our Facebook group and talk to us about it. All of us have been there in some shape or form, or leave a comment below and I'll definitely get back to you. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.